Alright, so this is going to be this probably won't be the second boss that we do, but this is going to be Elerethe for heroic mode on Emerald Nightmare. So what I'm going to do here is, it's just going to be a talk through of the strategy, what we're going to be doing, and kind of drawing and going along with it, similar to the first video that I did over in Ethandra. So this is going to be it's a pretty complicated fight. There's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of map awareness. It's definitely doable, but what we're going to need to do is just pay attention to all the mechanics, and it requires a lot of individual attention to detail and knowledge of the fight. So this is one of those fights that some of the abilities can target any raid member, so you guys are going to need to be paying attention. You're going to need to know exactly what to do without you being called upon. The second you get a debuff, you need to move on your own without having the raid leader or anybody else tell you to. So it's going to be extremely important that you're paying attention and you do what you need to do. So for the first phase, it's a 2-phase fight. We have a spider form and rock form. I don't know what the lore is, but she's a druid. She switches up every time she switches between forms whenever the energy bar fills up. And then she'll be jumping between platforms after each rock phase, which is the bird. So aside from the first platform, whenever we pull, each platform is going to have a full rock and spider phase. So whenever we pull, the boss is going to start with spider phase, it's going to move to the bird phase, and we'll be switching platforms at that time. After that, every other platform is going to have a full spider and rock phase. So from here, what we're going to be doing is just going to kind of walk through what the plan is. Okay, so one of the basic mechanics of the fight in general is there's going to be eggs along the edges of the platform. Pretty much on all these little corners, like, they're just going to be little patches of eggs. You step on the eggs, it's going to spawn a bunch of spiderlings, as well as cause a lot of damage to you and knock you back. And it'll also knock back any players in that radius. This is going to be extremely important during the rock phase whenever she's blowing you back. So you need to be cognizant of where these are at and make sure that you don't step on them. Also, another basic mechanic is these bridges here, which are used to transition through the platforms. Every player stepping on them, every step will cause a venomous spiderling to spawn. Okay, so phase 1, spider form. So this is going to last for approximately 90 seconds. The bird phase lasts about 2 minutes, but you're going to have kind of an intermission between each phase because you're going to be crossing the platform and you won't be actually on the boss the full 2 minutes. So the first mechanic is going to be Web of Pain. What that does is it's going to be applied to tanks. Tanks will always be linked with their damage, and it'll also apply to two random raid members. What it does is it shares damage as long as you're standing within 20 yards. You get 100% of the shared damage. Anything farther than that, it's actually going to do more than 100% of the damage. So if you get it, just stand close together. It lasts for a decent amount of time, so just stack with each other, dodge damage, and make sure you're following the rest of the mechanics as well. So necrotic venom, this is going to be similar to Rot from Ethandra. It's a lot. We've seen this same mechanic on a lot of other bosses. It's pretty simple. You get a warning debuff, you move away from the raid, and what we'll be doing is, as you see, the boss will actually be tanked. So think about this picture right here being flipped around, but the boss will be tanked in one corner. So it'll either be here or it'll be here, and you'll be taking all the necrotic venom to the opposite side. We'll designate a point where to drop it off at, and that's where the necrotic venom will be. So you have about 10 seconds to move over there. After the 10 seconds are up that you have the debuff, it'll start dropping the necrotic venom one pull every second. So you and the other player need to make sure that you're moving away from each other and that you are dropping the venom and the pulls, at least stacked up with each other, so that there's no way that other players can, so there's room for other players to come by and drop it off as well. If you stay in the pool too long, you also take damage, and you'll also be taking damage from the debuff, so healers will have to focus on you as well for that. One big thing you want to be aware of is you don't want to drop it off right here where the path is to the next platform. Obviously it's because we'll be moving between each platform, so you want to make sure that you're not blocking off the way for the raid. That also includes dropping off here close to tanks. So with the raid will be moved, see the raid is loosely stacked right here. all you're going to be doing is running straight out. If you're a melee, you're going to run straight out, and you guys will just move up and down, or up and down, and just drop it all off right here, just how it shows in this picture. You also might have to use a personal cooldown on this, and also movement speed cooldown if you want to move away and properly stack up the pools. This is more of what I was talking about, personal attention to detail and make sure y'all are doing the right thing. So Vile Ambush, what she does is she'll simply go up and she'll spawn some ads, a tank will pick them up, and as she's coming back down, she'll leave a big circle, similar to Fel Reaver. Big circle, red, don't stand in the red. So just pop movement speed cooldowns, tank will be picking up ads. We'll burn down the ads off to the side. So say she goes up, she drops a big red circle right here. We'll bring some of the ads over, kill the ads right here. They'll drop off their venomous pools, and the boss will come down. We'll pull the boss back to where she needs to be, and continue tanking and going through the fight. This happens every 50 seconds, so it's only going to happen twice during each phase. And after she does the second one where she goes up and drops, after her second Vile Ambush, it'll immediately go into the rock phase, so she'll go into all the mechanics for that one. So just to recap, pretty easy fight. You will lust on the pool, DPS the boss, burn, burn, burn. After that, we'll start getting the necrotic venoms. You move away, drop them off to the side of the raid, come back, keep DPSing. Whenever the ads come up for the Vile Ambush, pull the ads together, tank them close to the pool so that way they drop off the venomous pools and it's not in the way of the raid. Move out of the circle, keep burning the boss, and push her into the next phase. And again, the good part about this is that it's not a health percentage based change. It's always based on time and her energy bar. So we can actually put a lot of damage in, and it's a lot easier to burn her in this phase than the next one. Okay, so that's mechanics for the spider phase. Okay, so phase 2. This is the rock form. She turns into a giant bird. So as we move through this fight, we'll be rotating through 3 different platforms, which you'll see that they're right here, 1, 2, and 3. We'll be using this spider bridge to cross. So as soon as she turns into a rock, we'll still be on the first platform. So we'll be finishing up the spider phase. She just turned. What she's going to do is she's going to target 2 players with twisting shadows. This is the exact same thing as the venomous pools. You have 2 players targeted, you have 10 seconds to run over. So say that you had all these venomous pools right here. Okay. All that you're going to do is, if you're targeted with this, it's going to allow you to destroy the venomous pools. So both of y'all need to split up, and this can target any raid member, so we can't designate, rogues or hunters or whoever it is that have high movement to do this. You need to just be cognizant of the fact that you have it. You need to move over here. You'll run over here. With that debuff, as long as you have the 10-second debuff active, any pool you run over will be destroyed. So this is the point where you need to make sure you run over as many as possible. And at the end of the 10 seconds, you'll drop a tornado. Okay, so even if you have that tornado, you want to make sure that you don't get hit by it after it lands. It'll stun you for 4 seconds, do a bunch of damage. Pretty obvious, just don't get hit by the tornado. And then don't place on the path close to the platform where we will be moving, because we will be moving after the tornado spawn. Okay, so after that, she's going to pop Gathering Clouds. This signifies that she's about to jump off and move to the next platform. It's going to deal raid-wide damage. We'll call for your healer cooldown. That's another thing, is healers, make sure that you're not popping your cooldowns unless you're specified by myself or another designated person to pop them. Doesn't really matter what your healing is. I don't care if you're trying to pad meters any other point during the fight. The key points in this fight are these transition phases. We're moving from one platform to the next. So if you don't keep your healer cooldowns for those phases, you're going to wipe the raid. We need to push through these phases with damage. So don't try to pop your revival or pop your healing tide totem at the beginning. Save it for these phases, and it'll allow us to cross over into the next part. And it's going to be continuous raid-wide damage for Gathering Clouds, and then as we're moving and we land on the next platform, we'll also need another healing cooldown. So just hold off until it's called for, and we'll let you know. One thing with the Gathering Clouds is that it pushes you back, similar to the rock inside of, I think it's Darkheart Thicket, the one that pushes you back and you can't hit the eggs. Exact same mechanic. It's going to be pushing you back. There's going to be a wall that we're probably going to want to keep, like say there's a wall right here. We'll tank it, we'll have our back to this wall so we don't get pushed off the platform, and we'll try to make sure that we don't bump into any eggs. We'll use Stampeding Roar or any other mechanic during this part to make sure that we minimize the amount of ads that we get. This is a lot of individual responsibility as well. Do whatever you can to make sure you don't step on any eggs and don't step in any pools or any tornadoes. Okay, so after that's over, we're going to move off to a new platform. So if we're starting off, this is the first one. She's going to move. She'll fly over. We'll take this path here. Same thing, 2 to 3 and 3 to 1, and we'll just keep rotating until the boss is killed. So when she takes off, she's going to drop 9 feathers, right? It's going to land, it's going to be right underneath the boss. Okay. It's going to be right where she took off at. So we're going to designate 1 tank, 1 healer, and 7 DPS to grab this. And all you have to do is just run right through it. You don't even have to click on it. What this does is it allows you to kill the spiderlings that are going to be spawning from running across this bridge. So as the raid picks up and we move out, as we start running across this bridge, the ground tank will pick up all the ads that are spawning and we'll move it off to the side. What you're going to do with the feathers is you all will be jumping across. It pops up a little extra action button, puts it on your screen, and all you do is you click on it, you jump up, and when you land, you do a little bit of AoE damage. This allows you to, whenever you hit this AoE damage, it allows you to kill any of the spiderlings that are underneath you, which will save us from wiping on the raid, because it's going to be spawning a lot as we keep running across. So this crew will be designated, or probably the same raid members every single crew, or every single raid, just to make sure that we're consistent with it, and we'll rotate a couple people out here and there, but be prepared to do this, and it should be a pretty easy task. It's just clicking the extra action button and jumping on the spiderlings that are gathered up by the tank. So as soon as we arrive to a new platform, it'll start the actual rock phase where we'll be attacking the boss. We're going to be pretty low on health due to all the damage that we take from Gathering Clouds, Gathering Clouds, and then we also take Dark Storm damage as we move across. It's a percent health damage and it increases the longer we spend in it. The priority here is to get across the bridge cleanly. Even if we are low on damage, there's not going to be a lot of raid damage when we get to a new platform. So the goal is to survive. Don't do anything stupid like jump off, pop a speed cooldown and jump off the bridge to try to get to another bridge. Just move in a collected, organized manner and get to the new platform. On this new platform, we'll call for another healing cooldown. From there, we'll heal back up and we'll tank the boss in this manner. There will be 1 tank over here on this edge of the boss, as well as all the other DPS in the other tank that's not tanking the boss on the back side of it. So as soon as we get there, the first thing she's going to do is going to pop Raking Talons. It's 3 different attacks. They're cast in sequence, each one with 3 seconds apart. So all you have to do is taunt swap them between them. Taunt, and taunt back again. And what it does is it allows you each to take 1 hit. If you take 2 hits, it's going to cause a significant chunk of damage. We could even maybe try out maybe the first tank taking 2 hits and then taunting over. Because the tank that takes the last hit is also going to take the next mechanic, which is called Razor Wing. It's a frontal cone damage. It spawns off in this direction. And obviously, the bird should not be facing the raid. Okay. So that's all the mechanics for this fight. So now this fight is just going to continue repeating as we move from phase to phase and from platform to platform. Now, again, when the rock hits 100 energy, we're going to switch back into spider form, and we'll go through all of the mechanics for spider form again, which includes moving the pools and running outside, DPSing the boss, the vile ambush, the web of pain. And again, when the phase switches, we'll get the same AoE damage, same gathering clouds. So it's going to hit a kind of rhythm. Not sure. They revamped this fight on the beta, so I don't think anybody has actually done it on heroics. We won't have an actual time estimate at the moment, but it's not an overly complicated fight. It just requires a lot of awareness on the individual player, which usually leads to wipes in most raid scenarios. So it's going to be a lot on every raid member to make sure that they know what they're doing, are ready to move out with their debuffs, and are ready to clear up debuffs and perform any other ability that we ask them to during the raid. Okay, so if there's any other questions, just let me know in game, and this will be a strategy that we will be using for Elerethe. Alright, thank you.